Pilgrim changed at once into a tiny mole cricket and flew right into the bubbles. The monster spirit, however, took the cup in her hand and, instead of drinking immediately, bowed a couple of times to the Tang monk. Only after she had bashfully said a few words of love to him did she raise the cup. By now, the bubbles had already dissipated and the insect was fully visible. Not able to recognize that it was a transformation of Pilgrim, the monster spirit thought that it was a mere insect and immediately scooped it up with her little finger and tried to throw it away. When Pilgrim saw that things were not turning out as he had hoped, he knew that it would be difficult to get inside her stomach. At once, he changed into a hungry old hawk. Truly he has jade claws, golden eyes, and iron quills. A brave, fierce form for battling the clouds. The sly fox, the wily hare on seeing him, will swiftly flee to farthest land. Hungry, he hunts birds in the wind. Sated, he soars to heaven's gate. His old fists, most deadly, are hard as steel. E'en the sky he finds too low in flight. He darted up and stretched out his jade-like claws. With a loud crash he overturned the banquet tables and smashed to pieces all those fruits and vegetables, all those saucers and cups. Then he flew out of the place, abandoning the Tang monk. The heart and bladder of the monster spirit almost burst with fear, and the bones and flesh of the Tang monk too turned numb. Trembling all over, the monster spirit embraced him and said, "Brother elder, where did this creature come from? Your poor monk has no idea," replied Tripitaka. "I have taken great pains," said the fiend, "to prepare this vegetarian banquet for your enjoyment. But I wonder where this wretched hairy beast came from to smash up all my utensils." "Mistress," said the various little fiends, "smashing the utensils is not half as bad as spilling all those dietary foods on the ground. How can they be used now that they are defiled?" Tripitaka, of course, knew that this was the power of Pilgrim, but he dared not reveal it. That monster spirit said, "Little ones, I know. It must be that heaven and earth are displeased by my seizure of the Tang monk, and they send down this creature. Take away the broken utensils and prepare some other wine and food. It doesn't matter whether they are dietary or not. I'll ask heaven to be the marriage go-between and earth to be the witness. Then the Tang monk and I will be married." Thereupon, they sent the elder back to the room in the east corridor, and we shall leave him there for the moment. We tell you now about Pilgrim, who flew up out of the place and changed into his true form as he reached the entrance of the cave. "Open up," he cried. 8 Rules laughed and said, "Sha monk, elder brothers here." The two of them lowered their weapons for Pilgrim to jump out. 8 Rules walked forward to tug at him, saying, "Is there a monster spirit? Is our master there?" "Yes. Yes. Yes," replied Pilgrim. "Master must be suffering in there," said 8 Rules. "Is he tied up, or is he trussed up? Do they want to steam him, or boil him?" "Nothing of that sort," said Pilgrim. "She only wants to prepare a vegetarian banquet, so that she can do that thing with him." "Lucky you. Lucky you," said 8 Rules. "You must have drunk some wedding wine." "Oh, idiot," said Pilgrim. "Master's life is in danger. What wedding wine have I drunk? Why did you come back then?" asked 8 Rules. Pilgrim gave a thorough account of how he found the Tang monk and how he went into transformation. Then he said, "Brothers, no more of these foolish thoughts. Master is here. When Old Monkey goes back this time, he will certainly rescue him." At once he entered the cave again and changed into a fly to alight on the towered gate. There he heard the fiend panting hard and giving the following instruction: "Little ones, just bring me some food for the offering. I don't care whether it's vegetarian or not. I'll entreat heaven and earth to be my go-between and witness, for I am determined to marry that priest." On hearing this, Pilgrim smiled and said to himself, "This monster spirit is completely shameless. She has a priest locked up at home in broad daylight for fun and games. But let's not rush things. Let Old Monkey go inside to have a look first. With a buzz he flew to the east corridor, where he saw his master sitting in the room with clear teardrops rolling down his cheeks. Pilgrim crawled in there and landed on his bald head, crying, "Master." Recognizing his voice, the elder jumped up all at once and said spitefully through clenched teeth, "Wretched ape! Any other person who has the gall to do something, at least the gall is wrapped inside the person's body. But in your case, it's your gall that has you wrapped inside. How much could those utensils that you smashed by flaunting your magic transformation be worth? But if you provoke the monster spirit and arouse her lechery, she won't bother about dietary laws and will insist on copulating with me. What am I to do then?" "Master," said Pilgrim softly, trying to placate him, "please don't be offended. I have a plan to rescue you." "How will you rescue me?" asked the Tang monk. "When I flew up just now," replied Pilgrim, "I noticed that she has a garden in the rear. Trick her to go play with you in the garden. I'll rescue you then." "How will you rescue me in the garden?" asked the Tang monk once more. Pilgrim said, "When you get to the garden with her, you should stop walking once you reach the peach trees. Let me fly up to one of the branches and change into a red peach. You pretend that you want to eat a fruit and pluck off the red one that I change into. Undoubtedly, she will want to pluck one off also. Insist on giving yours to her. The moment she takes a bite, I'll enter her stomach. Then I'll punch through her belly and tear her guts apart. When she's dead, you'll be free. If you have the ability," said Tripitaka. "All you need is to fight with her. Why must you want to get inside her belly?" "Master, you're just not too sensible," said Pilgrim. "If this cave of hers were easy to get into and out of, then I could fight with her. But it is not. In fact, the crooked paths here are exceedingly hard to negotiate. If I move against her, the whole nest of them, old and young, may have me bogged down. What shall I do then? I have to use this underhanded method to mop things up." Nodding his head in belief, Tripitaka said only, "You must stay close to me." I know, said Pilgrim. "I'm on your head." After master and disciple had formulated their plan, Tripitaka got up and, supporting himself on the shutters, called out, "Lady! Lady!" When the monster spirit heard him, she ran near to him and said, giggling, "Dear wonderful man, what do you want?" "Lady," said Tripitaka, "since I left Chang'an to journey westward, there was not a day when I did not have to climb a mountain or ford a river. When I stayed at the sea pacifying monastery the other day, I caught a bad cold. Only today has my condition improved somewhat, for I have been perspiring. I am grateful to you for bringing me to your immortal residence, but having sat here all day, I feel sickly again. Is there a place where you can take me for some relaxation?" Highly pleased, the fiend said, "If dear wonderful man shows this kind of interest, I'll be delighted to take you strolling in the garden." She then cried out, "Little ones, bring me the key to open the garden. Sweep out the path." Pushing open the shutters, this monster spirit led the Tang monk out by the hand. Look at those many little fiends of hers, all with oiled hair and powdered faces, all sinuous and lissom. They surged around the Tang monk and headed straight for the garden. Marvelous monk! He found no ease in this troop of satin and silk. He played deaf and dumb in such brocaded grove. He only could face Buddha, who had an iron mind and heart. No mortal fond of wine and sex would succeed in scripture fetching. When they reached the entrance of the garden, the monster spirit whispered lovingly to him, saying, "Dear wonderful man, enjoy yourself here. You may truly relax and unwind." Walking hand in hand with her into the garden, the Tang monk raised his head to look around. It was indeed a lovely place. What he saw were paths twisting and turning, profusely coated with specks of green moss, handsome silk gauze windows, each faintly enclosed by embroidered screens. When a gentle breeze rises, Western silk and eastern damask spread out fluttering. When a fine rain recedes, ice flesh and jade substance appear seductive. The sun warms fresh apricots, red like the skirts that immortals hang out to dry. The moon illumes the plantain, green like feathered fans whirled by a goddess. By the painted walls on four sides, orioles sing amid 10,000 willows. Around the leisure cottage, butterflies swirl through the yard's cherry apples. Look further at the fragrance-holding alcove, the green moth alcove, the wine-dispelling alcove, and the romance alcove, one on top of the other, where the rolled-up red curtains are drawn by hooks like shrimp whiskers. Look also at the grief-relieving kiosk, the purity-draped kiosk, the brow-painting kiosk, and the Four Rains kiosk, each a noble edifice, with floriate plaques, inscribed with seal scripts. Look at the crane bathing pool, the goblet washing pool, the moon-pleasing pool, and the tassel cleansing pool, where golden scales glisten among green lilies and reeds. There are, too, the ink flower arbor, the strange chest arbor, the proper wheel arbor, and the cloud-adoring arbor, where mellow wine floats within jade flasks and cups. Beyond and before the pools and kiosks, there are rocks from Lake Tai, purple blooming rocks, parrot-falling rocks, and rocks of Sichuan rivers, around which the green tiger whisker rush are planted, east and west of the alcoves and arbors. There are false wooden hills, kingfisher screen hills, wind-whistling hills, jade agaric hills. On each grow thickets of phoenix tail bamboos, the tumi props, and the cinnamon rose props. Near the stand of swing,